Hello everyone, it's Melissa from Illuminate Guidance coming to you live this afternoon from my home to talk to you a little bit about direct communication, about saying what we mean and meaning what we say. I asked a question about being direct in my Facebook group for women this morning, and that conversation was just blowing up. And so I wanted to hop on here and continue that conversation, share a few thoughts of my own, and see if we can keep it going. So if you're not part of my group, I welcome you to join us. I will post a link for how you can join us here at the end of the broadcast. Right now, I'm going to go ahead and take just a second to share this into my group so that all the ladies in there can also see it. All right. So we're shared into my group now. So what is direct communication and why is it important to me? Just the ability to say what we mean and mean what we say, to me, is fundamental to my own personal sense of freedom, to my ability to own my inner authority, my ability to express myself and to be effective in the way that I communicate. And the way that we express ourselves is so important because we, depending on how well we do it, we either feel heard and understood, we get what we need, we give our gifts to the world, or we don't. And so the extent to which we are direct in our communication, to me, is a really important part of that. And to me, it's also something that is absolutely non-negotiable. Early on in our relationship, my husband, who's from South Texas, asked me, could you please just sugarcoat things just a little bit? And I thought about it for a little while, and the answer was no, I can't. First of all, I don't know how. And secondly, even if I did, I really don't think that it is worthwhile or useful for me to sugarcoat things. And certainly, there are compromises that I've made in my marriage to keep the peace and harmony, and that we adapt to each other's communication styles. And that, that cultural piece of things, depending on where you're from, there are different expectations for communication. Have you ever heard of Kansas nice or Minnesota nice or Texas sweetness or, Southern sugarcoating? Or, I have a friend from New Jersey who says, sometimes she has to just go Jersey on someone and just, really tell it like it is. And so it's important to know who we're communicating with in the mix. I also haven't heard very many men being told that they're too direct. I think it's more common for women to be criticized for being more direct. And so that's why I think it's part of owning our inner authority and why I wanted to address it a little bit. So being direct is an art in my mind. And, it's not a license to just word vomit everything that's in our head all over someone and just say, oh, I'm just being direct. Because if we're not effective in our communication, then it's kind of pointless. So if we can communicate in a way that we are able to say what we mean, we are able to mean what we say, and that it can be received and heard and understood, and that it can be a productive conversation, is kind of what we're going for. And in my mind, I have some criteria that I use to try to become more effective in my communication. And I didn't make this up. I don't even know where I heard it, but that idea of, before you say something, to try to make sure that you're checking in with yourself about three things. Is it kind? Is it true? And is it necessary? And so even with under the umbrella of direct communication, I don't want to be communicating things that aren't true. I don't see much point in saying things that aren't kind. Although some things I say might not feel good to someone, they might be, truths that are hard to metabolize. But that's where the is it necessary comes in, because you know, if that direct communication is unnecessary, if it's just junk, and I'm wasting my ability to be credible, to be honest, to be open, to be understood, to express myself on things that are unnecessary, unkind, or untrue, then I don't feel like my communication is effective. The other piece that is really important in my mind is, to what extent am I willing and able to receive direct communication from others? Because, it never goes over well to ask someone to receive something that's difficult from you that you're not willing to receive yourself. And so that's kind of the frame that I use to be able to say what I mean and mean what I say and keep it in the zone that is effective. And so, it's a life's work. Communication is one of the most challenging things as humans that we experience, and something that we can always work on and always get better. And so I want to invite you to just kind of think about your style of communication. How does your culture shape that? How does your gender shape it? How are you received when you communicate directly? And what are your criteria? Do you use, kind, true, and necessary? Or are there, some other things that are important to you for your direct communication? Because, ultimately, it's important for us all to express ourselves, to deliver our gifts to the world, and to be who we're meant to be. And direct communication is a really powerful way to do that, because we don't have time to waste. I hope that this has been really useful for you. If I can be a resource for you, as always, feel free to book a free call with me. I will put my link down here in the comments as soon as I hop off this broadcast, and would love to talk to you. Would love for you also to share your comments about direct communication below. So have a beautiful afternoon.